All right, Houston, Northern Kentucky. I don't know. You know, the Horizon League, Darren Horn. What do you think? Is this a rout? Is this a 30-point game?
Yeah, I think it's a rout. Are they going to get Sasser? I mean, what's Sasser's status? Where are we at with that?
Right now, he's out until further notice,
Yeah.
I've been told. Doesn't mean he is out. It's just right now he's out. I read a thing that said, hey, look, we'll update you during the week.
Yeah, I like Houston. I think what's intriguing is the matchup just below, and I know you want to set us up for that, the Iowa-Auburn matchup, but I really think that matchup is going to be one of the fun ones of the group.
Which one?
Well, I'm sorry. I think the Houston. Let's just go ahead. I think Auburn beats Iowa, so I think that Houston-Auburn matchup.
Do you really?
I think.
Let me go back to something. Iowa can score, and I'm starting to think, man, that's why the Pac-12 does well. I start to think, you know, you got to be able to. If you score in the 50s, you and me and Dylan and Ryan, we can get to 50. But if you can get to the high 70s and 80s, you're hard to beat. Iowa can't. I think that sets up to be a hell of a game.
Coach, Iowa can score every single year.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to see is Iowa score in the tournament because they've struggled year in and year out. And I think where Auburn, they find ways to score in the tournament. But the thing about this year's Auburn team that I see is that they defend pretty well. They're going to get in your stuff. And my issue with Iowa is what Iowa are you going to get? And I just think that throughout the Big Ten year, it's always been what Iowa are you going to get this game? Are you going to get the Iowa that, you know, gets down 30, comes all the way back? Are you going to get, at home beats Indiana, beats Michigan State? Or are you going to get the Iowa that goes to Rutgers and trounces them in the middle of the year? So that's why I think Auburn's going to beat Iowa. And that's the intriguing matchup I was talking about. That Houston-Auburn game is going to be really interesting because Bruce Pearl's going to have those guys hyped up. And then I don't think Sampson needs to hype up his Cougars. They're just coming for a fist fight at all points.
You know, one of the interesting things about Houston is getting to go back, obviously, and play in Houston. So that's the carrot that's out there. I don't disagree with you at all about Auburn. I think it comes down, don't you, to a matter of trust. Like, I don't trust Iowa. I haven't trusted Iowa.
Right.
True story. I haven't trusted Iowa since 1989 when we thought we were going to play them. And they got 1987, and they were up 26 against UNLV and got beat. I don't trust Iowa. Never have, never will.
Well, I don't either. And like you said, so Iowa can score, but can they score when the heat's on? Can they score against an Auburn team that can speed up the game, and they can also check you? You know, the Auburn Coach Pearl, Bruce Pearl's going to have those cats fired up to get into Iowa's stuff. And can Iowa handle that heat? I think the McCaffrey boys and I think Murray, they can handle all that. But are they going to step up? Do they understand what's at stake? Do they understand that they have the ability to win? Do they understand that they got to put it all together? They got to come ready to go. They got to compete, and they got to guard. That's one thing that to me I was really struggled with. They just don't guard. And to say they never have probably isn't fair, but they've really struggled to guard. They struggled to guard for a long, long time, and I'm talking years.
Yeah, no question about it. Miami and Drake. I'm going to set this up for me. Drake, I love Drake, man. I got to tell you, they are old. 2 25-year-olds, 2 24-year-olds. This kid, Tucker DeFreeze, is a first-round pick, everybody tells me. They got their all-time leading assist guy. This is an old team, man. I know Miami made a run last year. Larinaga's got a nice team, but damn, Drake's a nice basketball team, Dane.
Yeah, they're older than maybe you and your group of guys that get together to play golf or eat lunch. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, they are. They're older than us. They would pick up the check, too. They make more money.
Yeah, I think some of their players are balding faster than you did. I didn't even.
What do you think of that game?
Time to move on.
Yeah, from stupid stuff. What?
I don't think
what
it's
do you
stupid.
think of that game?
Well,
What do you
I'll
think
tell
of
you
that
what.
game?
I like Drake because I think Miami. I don't think they're playing at their best. I think that they're knocked down a little bit, and it's the time of year. You can be up, you can down. Miami zero's down, and I'd like to. I don't want to rehash what you said about Drake. I think they're experienced. I think they're connected. I think DeVries is one of the best players probably in the tournament, or the country will find out that DeVries is one of the best players in the tournament. And I think that I just think Miami zero's pointing down. They're a good defensive team. Miami doesn't score it well enough, and I think Drake just all around is a pretty dang good basketball team.
Have you seen enough of Kent? I mean, what do you think? Can they beat Indiana?
They can beat Indiana because they've got really good defensive guards. They're small, but they're good defensive guards. If they'll commit to playing defense, which they basically have all year, I think Kent State can beat Indiana. The question is how do they stop Trace Jackson Davis? They've got size. They're not great. They're not great athletes, but what they are is they're mobile and they're versatile. They're fairly big, and keep in mind this is a Kent State team that lost to Gonzaga. They were right in the game down the stretch. Drew Timme, though, keep in mind too that Drew Timme he had 29 and 17, and that speaks to the damage that size can do to Kent State. They're out rebounded by 11. Another team, and what I looked at is I looked at the high major matchups that Kent State went up against. They lost to Houston. They gave up 49 points to Houston. Conversely, they scored 44. So it's not a team that can score, that can put up big numbers as Kent State. And another thing, Kent State was out rebounded by 17 against Houston. So their bigs are going to be their issue, I think, and it's going to be whether they can match up with Indiana's experience and size up front.
It is interesting because when you have small guards, double teaming from the guard doesn't really affect Jackson Davis, right? I mean, he's clever enough. It would help Indiana if Race Thompson played a little bit and played well in the last 6-7 minutes of games, would it not?
I think so. I think in years past, at least last year, Race got tired. Race, his back is banged up. He's got some knees and some feet that are sore. He's not unhealthy. He's banged up. This is a guy that Race Thompson doesn't take a day off. He practices every day. He's focused. He's looked on to really be one of the major leaders on the team. He's mature. He's a great dude, but you're right. When Indiana was playing well, at least last year, when I was coaching with Indiana, Race Thompson. Hey, enough about the stupid stuff. Race Thompson was a key component to our success. When Race plays well, much like Trace and Hood Schifino, when Race is playing well, Indiana's at their best, and that seems like an obvious statement, but you'd be surprised at the difference.
No, I get you, and see, I want you on here to break this down because you're really smart. You try to hide it, which I like and I respect, but you're really smart. Xavier, I fell in love with late. Kobe Jones is unbelievable. Iowa State has been rolling people. I mean, they went into Baylor and beat the crap out of them. Maybe both lose. I don't know. What do you think in those two? I'm trying to speed it along just a little bit because I want to get your pick in the region.
Well, I think Mississippi State in this one because Mississippi State over Iowa State, Mississippi State over who is that? Who are they playing the play-in there? Pittsburgh.
They're playing.
And
I got it. Yeah, Pitt.
They play.
Wow.
And the reason I think Mississippi State, because Mississippi State's undisciplined. And I think that discipline will beat them. And I'm not sure that Iowa State or Pitt have the discipline. It's not to say that Iowa State and Pitt are undisciplined. I just don't think they have the experience in terms of connection, being connected to beat the Mississippi State. So Mississippi State, until they run into Xavier, I think Mississippi State plays themselves into the game against Xavier where they'll ultimately get beat, because I agree with you. Xavier's a man down, but I think Xavier has the toughness and they've got the scoring power to beat a Mississippi State.
Yeah, Fremantle being down hurts, but man, did you recruit Jack Nungy ever? How about that dude?
No, I didn't. I mean, he's another guy that's just a little bit older than you are, and
yes.
and you know what he's done? Guy looks like so. When Jack Nungy started at Iowa, is that even where he started at? I know he played at Iowa against Michigan State.
Yeah.
I think he looked about 6'7", and I think he's about 115 pounds. Now he's 7 foot, what, 250? He's your size. Well, at least he's your girth. He might not be your height, but he's you remember the guy Kenny Freese that played at Xavier a few years back?
Yes.
You know, got his face. That's what he looks like now, and I think he's gotten in really good shape, and he's going to be a force in this tournament, I believe, until, of course, they reach Texas. And by Texas, I mean Texas. The Longhorns. Oh,
you don't like you like them over Penn State? You think Penn State advances over A&M? Where are you at with that little area there, that little quad?
Well, the Aggies are hot, man. Seems like they're hot since the third or fourth game in the season. They've got Julius Marble, a former Michigan State Spartan, and Julius has been keeping me abreast of the Aggies, the Texas A&M Aggies. And I haven't watched the Aggies a ton other than watching Julius personally play. But I can see that the Aggies are hot, and Penn State is so 3-point reliant. When you get into the tournament, unless you're the 2002 Indiana Hoosiers, it's hard to get hot from on the road, even or in a neutral site from the 3-point line. And you combine that with I think Texas A&M's a pretty good, pretty physical team, and they're going to bring it. I think the Texas A&M Texas game is going to be a heck of a game, and I've got the Longhorns beating Colgate with ease. Texas is going; they're going far, man. Texas is going to be hard to beat in this. What they did to Kansas, and I don't care if Bill Self was there or not. What they did to Kansas yesterday was impressive. Now I got to go back and watch that game. Or not yesterday, I think it was Saturday. But what they did to Kansas was impressive, and I got to go back and watch that game and see what was done. But I'm a big Texas fan right now.
I think most of us are, but I got them losing to Penn State. I think Penn State's guards and the way they play is so unique. All right, the great Andrew Dockich said this, Dane. He said, Dad, if you really study it, Alabama's great. The rest of the SEC stinks. Do you agree with that?
I think the great Andrew Dockich has just been downgraded to semi. He's semi-great. He's quasi-great.
Yeah.
I watched Kentucky early. I think, once you get down to like a Vanderbilt or something, yes. But I like Texas A&M a lot, and I like Kentucky. So we could just start there. I am concerned about Tennessee. Tennessee's been too up and down for me, and they lost their point guard. So Tennessee, sorry, Knoxville. I think Tennessee is probably the team right now that is they're like Andrew Dockich. They're quasi-great. They have the ability to be great. They've shown greatness. They've been great before, but Andrew Dockich is a lot like Tennessee.
It's a great analogy. All right, let's get as we move through. I got a couple things. Does Indiana eventually play Houston, or do they lose before? How far does Indiana go? How far does Houston go up or on that side of it?
I've got the Hoosiers going up against the Houston Cougars. I've got them beating the Houston Cougars. I've got them in a matchup against the Texas Longhorns, and the Texas Longhorns will, to be continued. No, the Texas Longhorns.
No!
I've got the Longhorns beating the Hoosiers in the round of 8, and but I will say this: I think Indiana has national championship talent. I've said that all year. I love Trace Jackson Davis. Jalen Hood-Schifino is no surprise to me. The kid can absolutely play. Race Thompson, Miller Kopp's playing at an elite level on the defensive end, and when he's able to get shots, he makes them. I'd love to see Trey Galloway step up a little bit more. What does that mean? I'd just like to see him be even more active than he is. Show some leadership on the court, show some personality. He's got a great personality. I like the way Malik Renew's playing. Indiana can surprise some people and make it all the way based on their talent and experience up front.
Bottom part of it, you like Texas to come all the way through. Do you see them playing Xavier? Does Xavier get to a Sweet 16?
I do. I see Texas playing Xavier. I think this Xavier team, minus Fremantle, is still good enough to beat Mississippi State, and of course to beat Kennesaw State. But I do see a Xavier Texas Sweet 16 matchup. I just think the Longhorns have too much firepower. They got too many dudes, man. My gosh, they got too many dudes.
Who comes out? Who is in the Final Four from the Midwest region, according to the great, not quasi-great? Go ahead and watch the 2002 video that's on my Twitter that I saw from an NIL store or something. Go watch it. I'm talking about great. You're seeing him hit threes, but he was a defensive player of the year in the league. That's Michael Jordan-esque. Anyway, who comes out? Yeah, who comes out of this region into the Finale 4?
Absolutely, your Texas Longhorns. They're going to be partying in Austin. I mean,
wow.
They're just playing well right now. They're playing well. I think their toughest matchup will be against probably the Texas A&M Aggies in the round of 32, which you hate to hear because you think it's going to be Penn State.
Hey, thanks for watching Don't At Me with me, Dan Dockich. Make sure to like, subscribe, or click the notification bell for more of my beautiful face. Check out my full show to my right, or watch this other video. See ya.